Your Excellency, are you ready for a new world order?
I just wanna wake my people up. I just wanna send praises up. I just wanna wake my people up. I just wanna send praises up. I just wanna wake my people up. I just wanna send praises up.
Y'all see mass murders, false prophets, war rumors say you woke, but you still sleep. Pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, but you still sleep. Acting like you love knowledge, but I know you really don't feel me. Fake woke people kill me. About to kill this beef, forgive me. Shaddai at work told me he sent me a track, so I put on my mask and got ready for war. Courtney told me I'm a part of the team, like I put on my jersey, I'm ready to score. We did not come here to ask for a spot and then gain that shit that we gon' kick in the door. I'm vegan, I had to retire to be, but my enemies made me get ready for more. When I talk about my enemies, I'm talking about the demons that I fight on a daily. Sometimes my biggest adversary is the man I'm seeing in these mirrors that I keep breaking. I'm tired of this flesh that's begging me to sin. That's why I've been departing from Satan. I gave up all the weed, all the harlots, all the garbage. I'm evolving for the creator.
I just wanna wake my people up. I just wanna send praises up. I just wanna wake my people up.
Hello and welcome back to another episode. And thank you for being a part of the House of Nicole B family. We're going to jump right in on today and talk about something that is very important. With the political climate that's going on, a lot of people don't know to go right or left, but I want to try to portray how important this particular election is for 2024. Immigration to hundreds of billions of dollars that's being sent out for different purposes. This is not by coincidence. They're really symptoms. All the things that I've mentioned before, they're symptoms. But the nucleus of it, it is far more deeper than what your mainstream media broadcast about. I rarely see even content creators speaking of this issue that I am getting ready to discuss, and that is the New World Order. Now, I am not immensely educated with the New World Order. I do know that the powers that be within the U.S., they attend these G14 summits. They attend these secret society summits where world leaders come together and they pretty much outline how the world is going to operate, how the world is going to be. So even though these are major issues to the ordinary person like myself, that within the New World Order agenda, it comes with people being able to come in and out various countries without proper documentation. That is a part of the New World Order. When it comes down to finances, how all of this money is being printed out and sent various places, and we really don't have the backing for the money that's being printed out. That is a part of the New World Order. So I have put together a few videos to kind of explain how these particular summits take place and what is actually discussed in these summits. You can easily research this stuff for yourself, pull this stuff up for yourself. But just about every sitting president, and I was able to find footage all the way back to Nixon's day, and that was, I can't find that footage now. I wonder why. But I have actually seen and viewed Nixon mentioning the New World Order. I have seen Reagan mentioning the New World Order. I have seen and heard both Bushes talk about the New World Order. I have seen and heard President Obama talk about the New World Order. Bill Clinton talking about the New World Order. And our current president, President Biden, he is all for a more global type of economy, a more global type of living arrangement, and that's why we are currently in the state that we're in when it comes down to immigration. He did not hide this from us. He clearly mentioned it when he was running for presidency and clearly stated that he wanted to open up the border. So this was something that he didn't hide. He actually told us, but we kind of skimmed over that because we didn't know the impact. We didn't know to what extent he was talking about. But I just put together just some few little clips that you can go back and watch the entirety of these clips and kind of immerse yourself and go all the way back as far as they will let you go back, so you can kind of see from 10 years ago up until now what the agenda is all about.
Issues of world order is Henry Kissinger, so I'll try to channel him, and forgive me, Dr. Kissinger. But his answer would be, what do you mean no new world order? We have not had a world order yet. What we've had a Western order that was imposed on the world. And so the first world order in modern times, or somewhat modern times, was 4 centuries ago with the Treaty of Westphalia, ending a century of conflict, the 30 Years' War. And it wasn't a great moral thrust, it was just recognizing the world as it was. If you look at what we're trying to create right now, where I would say at an inflection point in history, as important as the end of World War I, where we got the effort at world order tragically wrong. We ended up with millions of dead, the Holocaust in World War II. After World War II, we got more right than wrong with the creation of the International Liberal Order and the United Nations and the Bretton Woods system and the European Coal and Steel Community, NATO, etc. And then the Soviet Union fell, and then the Cold War, we thought it was the end of history, and we thought that everyone could fit into this system that had been created, and it worked for a while, but not everybody came into it. But China grew. China certainly took full advantage of being part of the global system. Russia did not. Russia became more of an outlier. And I think where we are now, and this gets to your question, Becky, of a new world order, is it can go in 2 directions, with the war in Ukraine now being a decisive element. Either the jungle is back, as the historian Bob Kagan talks, and that we can go into a darker era, or we could go into an era, because of the advances of science, advances of technology, that could be one of the most prosperous, promising, progressive, enlightened, moderate, modern eras that we've ever faced. And I think we're in a moment where that's being decided, and I think the importance of the Ukraine issue is that it's a fulcrum for this, and how the world manages this and comes out of this is going to have far-reaching consequences that go beyond Ukraine.
Thank you. Pippa, the US President, and I steal a line from the Washington Post here, their national columnist, who is a terrific writer. The US President has framed the tension of this moment as pitting democracy versus autocracy. That is a controversial position, coming as it does from the US President. Do you agree? And how does that framing fit into our wider discussion today?
Well, I think the word framing is correct. I wrote a piece in late October saying we're already in World War III. We are already in conflict that extends so far beyond Ukraine, actually, even within the context of Western Europe. But we've clearly been pretty much at war in space, below the surface of the oceans, submarine warfare between superpowers. I would even say that this has been happening for at least 4 years, and it's spilled over into public view on the ground. But we don't frame it that way. Also, this idea that it's one kind of political organization system versus another, but really it looks to me like old-fashioned superpower conflicts. Where I'm very optimistic, and I agree with you about how to frame the future, what I see as someone involved in technology, someone involved with entrepreneurs and advising governments, I see a future where we genuinely have ubiquity and not scarcity. I see a future where the internet is available for free for everyone in the most remote locations on the planet, for example. And that means the location of power is going to shift. And I see, as a person in financial markets, decentralization of power structures everywhere. In finance, in political power, And in fact, this conflict that we're in right now may be the beginning of that shift. I certainly see many people from the industrialized world looking very actively to move to places that they used to consider emerging markets, to build businesses there, to expand there. So I also think, to finish, this idea that autocracies have an advantage over democracies, I will fight that tooth and nail. I don't think it is correct, and I think our view that just because, for example, China had a more autocratic approach made them more successful is unproven by time. And we are going to find the places that allow the entrepreneurial spirit to thrive the most and give the greatest political latitude are the ones that are going to grow the best.
Thank you, Pippa. George, your assessment, briefly.
I think human beings live their lives in a storm, and nations live their lives in a storm. And we're gifted with nostalgia. We remember times that never were and long for them. So we are now in a normal condition of humans. We love those we love, we hate those we hate, we fight, we make up. And human beings are this thing. But it is the most interesting thing that we remember things that we never ever were. We remember a time where this tension of love and hate didn't exist. We remember a time that if we could only get back to, all would be well. And sometimes we imagine that if I have the internet, that will take me home. But there is no going home, we are at home. And we have to be at peace with where we are. And there is no time that has ever been at peace with the chaos that it was surrounded by. And that's the tragedy of the human condition. And it's greatness.
Right, thank you. Your positions are quite clear. Dr. Anwar Gargash, then, let's just start with you. If we are looking at a new world order that is, as Pippa describes it, decentralized, if we are looking at a new world that is not a single power based, as it were, and a world that is layered by these, what feel like very new global issues of climate change, of cybersecurity, as you suggest, of technology and the speed of that. What does that mean for this region? Because the perspective that we discuss world order through, as Fred has rightly pointed out, has been a Western perspective. My sense is that we must stop doing that. So what is the impact on this region?
I think to start with, Becky, the region has to catch up by emphasizing, in my opinion, non-political issues. Some of them are global issues, the ones you mentioned, and certainly COVID is a clear test of what we should be concentrating on: food security and cyber capability and climate change and others. But more fundamentally, I think the region lags behind in terms of multi projects of integration, economic integration, etc.
Countries, governments be forced to make a choice, to take a side at this point, Pippa? I mean, certainly, again, this is a big narrative here. You know, this is this struggle by two great powers. I use the term great loosely to a certain extent, but two great powers, and others being forced to take a choice. I think this speaks to this kind of emergence of these regional powers and the emergence of the middle powers here, because we're hearing, quite frankly, don't force us into a corner here. Are they right?
Well, it may be a bit late for that. I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China, and said, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we're on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private. But what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.
Interesting, huh? Very interesting. To the point where there are more questions now, just for me, than I had previously. Pippa, who, I took some notes, who is an economist, and she also was the former U.S. President advisor. She has been in the world of finance all her life. She says she had gotten training from her father, who advised and helped out Nixon. So she's been in this financial world all her life, and she has even helped and has been an advisor to former U.S. presidents. So some things that kind of struck me while she was speaking were superpowers. What does that mean? Who and what are the superpowers? These are questions that we must ask. She also says we frame it that way. And that goes back to even when Trump talks about fake news. I mean, we look at it from a surface level, but it's much, much, much more deeper than that. When you talk about framing, you think about how even our mainstream media frames certain stories or frames certain topics to get us to move in the direction that they want us to move into. She also spoke about the decentralization of power structures. That's something else that we need to inquire about. Dr. George Friedman, he said some interesting things too. I didn't keep the video running because they had a lot to say. And keep in mind, this was actually the World Summit of 2022. So a lot has come about since then. We could kind of look at what they have said and base it off of what we are currently going through now. You could look at previous ones, but even before that, and look at the one from this coming year. I may do a few more videos just to throw some snippets in there just to prove the point. Something that interests me that Dr. Freeman said, and if you couldn't see the heading, he is the founder and chairman of the Geopolitical Futures. Okay? So he looks at history, and he kind of analyzes history and where we are today, and he comes up with conclusions and remedies of how to move forward. And his opinion is greatly appreciated and greatly wanted because of his experience and how he goes about analyzing the past, the present, and what is to come. But something he said, two things that I wrote down that was very, very startling in a way. He said, remembering the times that never were. Like we long to go back to a time where, in his opinion, never existed. Okay? We can feed off of that all day. Okay? The illusions that are put before us. Okay? And then he said, you know, something about the internet. He said, well, you can type in your home and the internet will take you there. But he said there is no going home. We are home, and we have to be at peace with that. So basically, I gathered, you may gather something else, and please put it in the comment section because I want to know your opinions. But I took it to where this is what it is currently today. We have to be at peace with what's going on today. Which brings me to my conclusion for this video, because I don't want it to go too long. That's why I feel, and not only feel, but based off of my studies, I put scriptures in the beginning of every video that I do. That is for you to go back and look at those scriptures, read it in its entirety, those chapters, and see if it aligns within your opinion, within your view, if it aligns with the topic of the video that we're currently working on. So based off of these superpowers that Dr. Pippa was mentioning, she's talking about things in space. She was talking about things under the ocean that we really don't mention or hear about, and how it had gotten up to the surface level where we're hearing bits and pieces and it's causing some type of conflict. These are things that are not mentioned on mainstream media. These are things that we really need to look further into. But as I said before, and I'm going to wrap this up, that's why I believe that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. We have to face that. That's why Dr. Friedman said there is no going home. We are home. This is as good as it gets. And we have to be at peace. We have to be at peace with that. Which coincides with the scripture that I put at the very beginning of the video. To be real, I can't promise you a better day here in the world that we know it. Things are going to progressively move in the direction that the superpowers, or the powers that be, deem it to go into. Now, when it comes down to this particular election, and that's the topic of all of this, I just wanted to give you some standing to stand on by putting these clips into this video. My personal belief, based off of what I have studied, is Biden is for this new world order. He is for that. He is moving us, and he has moved us into the beginning stages of that. It's undeniable. I feel that with Trump, he will at least get things back on track as we know it to be. And keep in mind, he only has 4 more years that he can do that. So what does that mean for us? That means that if we elect President Trump, we have 4 years as individuals to make ready our families. We have 4 years to make ready those adjustments that are going to come. There's no stopping it. It's going to come. When you're speaking of superpowers and there's no name attached to these superpowers and all of this stuff, it is the Bible being fulfilled. I'm sorry to tell you, even if you don't believe in the Bible, if you don't believe in religion, I'm not a religious person. I have a relationship, which is totally different than having a religion. I have a belief. I have a relationship with the Most High. And based off of the book he gave us called the Bible, which can stand for Basic Instruction Before Leaving Earth, BIBLE, Basic Instruction Before Leaving Earth, it aligns with what these people are talking about. And so if we are to elect President Trump again for 4 more years, that gives us a chance as people to study so we'll know how to move as this new world order comes into place. You can save your money, maybe invest in some things. If you have a nice little savings put up somewhere, maybe you can invest into something else or into something that will supersede money, such as like gold and silver. You can stock up on your waters. You can stock up on your non-perishable foods. You can prepare yourself, because things are going to change. There's no stopping that. But this election, 2024, is one of the most important elections that the United States has ever seen outside of slavery. So you can choose to sit at home and vote for the couch and just think that this is just another ordinary election. It's not. It's not. Please go and find the information that you need to find so that you can educate yourself, for not only you, but for your families, and so that you will know how to move. I'm not going to hold this video any longer, but I would like for you to like, share, and subscribe. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Even if you don't subscribe, please share it. It's not for me, it's to get the message out. Honestly, me putting out certain information like this that is not publicized and not broadcast like that, I'm taking a risk. But again, my faith lies with the Most High, and I know that I'm trying to do my part by bringing awareness. And I believe that the Most High will protect me. But please share. Start conversations. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. And again, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And I will see you in the next video. God bless.
About the demons that I fight on a daily. Sometimes my biggest adversary is the man I'm seeing in these mirrors that I keep breaking. I'm tired of this flesh is begging me to sin. That's why I've been departing from Satan. I gave up all the weed, all the harlots, all the garbage. I've been walking for the Creator.
I just wanna wake my people up. I just wanna send praises up. I just wanna wake my people up.